She stumbled through the dark forest, her breath tearing out of her lungs, her hands trembling as branches slapped against her skin. Behind her, footsteps, heavy, vicious, hungry, closed in. She didn't dare look back. All she knew was that if she slowed, even for a heartbeat, she would never see the sunrise again. But just when she thought she had reached the end of her strength, the ground rumbled. Massive shadows rose between her and the thing chasing her, shining metal giants whose eyes glowed like burning embers. The Iron Guardians had awakened, and what they saw behind her made even their steel hearts freeze. Mira had always believed the world was cruel, but she never imagined it could turn on her so suddenly. One moment she was tending the old shop she shared with her grandfather, the only family she had left. The next moment, the town's most feared man, Varen Holt, a warlord disguised as a respectable noble, burst through her door with 2 of his soldiers. He accused her grandfather of stealing something sacred, something powerful, something dangerous. Mira knew it was a lie. Her grandfather had barely been able to walk, let alone steal from a man who controlled half the region. But lies spoken by powerful men are easily believed. Before she could scream, Varen struck her grandfather, and the world Mira knew shattered in an instant. She only had time to hear her grandfather whisper, "Run, and don't look back," before the soldiers grabbed her. But fear made her faster than she ever knew she could be. She broke free and ran through streets, through dust, through tears. She ran until the city turned into countryside and countryside into wilderness. But Varen wasn't about to let a witness escape. He sent his best hunter, a monster more than a man, Roknar, the Shadow Wolf, as people called him. One who never failed to catch what he chased. Now, hours later, Mira's body trembled with exhaustion as she ran deeper into Ironwood Forest, a place no one entered willingly. Everyone feared its metal beasts, ancient, forgotten guardians created by a vanished civilization. They were said to sleep beneath the earth unless something disturbed them. But Mira had no choice. Better to die to the forest than be dragged back to Varen. As the night grew colder and the branches thicker, she could hear Roknar's howl echoing behind her, a growling promise that her time was running out. And just when he stepped into the clearing behind her, ready to leap, the ground shuddered. The soil cracked open. And the Iron Guardians, massive armored titans, rose like mountains coming alive. Their eyes flared with molten fire as they turned their heads and saw who was hunting her. The Guardians had not awakened for over 300 years. Legend said they only rose when innocence was in danger and justice was threatened. Mira didn't know if she believed legends, but when the towering iron colossi formed a circle around her, she felt something ancient and powerful swirling in the air. Roknar froze mid-step, his confidence swallowed by fear as he stared up at the metal giants whose armor plates shifted like living rivers of steel. One guardian stepped forward, lowering its massive head, scanning Mira as if searching her soul for truth. Another turned toward Roknar, and with a single step, the earth nearly split apart. Roknar snarled and tried to attack, but the guardians moved faster than any stone giant should. One slammed its hand into the ground, causing a shockwave that launched Roknar backward. He roared in fury and vanished into the shadows, retreating for the first time in his life. Mira collapsed, crying not just from fear, but from the overwhelming weight of everything she had lost. The guardian nearest her lowered its huge hand, gently enough that Mira understood it wanted her to climb. When she touched its cold metal surface, a strange warmth spread through her palms. The guardian spoke, not in words, but in vibrations, a deep hum that filled her ribs and bones. She felt its message: "You are safe now. But your fight is not over." Over the next days, the Iron Guardians carried her deeper into their hidden sanctuary, a forgotten valley of ancient machines surrounded by waterfalls and glowing stones. There, she learned a truth that reshaped her life. Varen Holt had indeed stolen the sacred artifact, a heartstone that controlled the Guardians. Her grandfather had discovered this, and Varen tried to silence him. But the artifact had chosen Mira instead. That was why the Guardians awakened to her presence. When Varen marched into the forest with an army to reclaim control, Mira knew she could not run anymore. Standing atop the lead Guardian, she faced him not as a frightened girl, but as the rightful bearer of the Heartstone. The Guardians stood behind her like mountains ready to obey. Varen screamed orders. His soldiers trembled. And when Mira raised the Heartstone, the Guardians unleashed a roar of energy that shattered Varen's army without harming a single innocent life. Varen himself fell to his knees as the guardians encircled him, their iron shadows swallowing his power forever. Mira finally returned to her town not as a victim, but as its protector. People whispered her name with awe. She protected the weak, exposed the corrupt, and used the guardian's wisdom to rebuild what had been broken. Her grandfather's words echoed in her heart, "Run when you must, but never stop fighting for what is right," and that was how Mira, the girl who once ran for her life, became the guardian of thousands, a living reminder that even in the darkest night, courage awakens giants.